So what if I told you that the system that keeps your favorite apps from crashing is pretty much the exact same one that keeps our whole society healthy and safe? Sounds a little crazy, right? But it's a super fascinating idea, and in this explainer, we're going to unravel exactly how that's possible.
I know, it sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, doesn't it? You've got a piece of software, a public health institution, and a law enforcement agency. I mean, they're operating in completely different worlds, dealing with code, communities, and citizens. But what if there's a hidden connection, a secret thread tying them all together? Well, it's true. Beneath the surface, all of these super complex systems, they actually rely on the very same core principles to stay healthy and functional. It's this powerful framework for well-being, and believe me, it starts in a place you would probably never expect. To really get this, we've got to dive into the world of software development. Specifically, we're looking at a discipline called software quality assurance, or just QA.
You know, when most people hear QA, they immediately think of, well, testing, just finding bugs. But it is so much more than that. It's actually a complete system designed from the ground up to maintain the health of a digital product. A great way to think about it is like public health, but for software. It's this mix of preventing problems from ever happening and stepping in when they do.
So how do these systems actually stay healthy? Well, the most effective strategy, and this is true across the board, is to stop problems before they even have a chance to get started. And this is where the parallels just become, well, crystal clear. Look at this. Public health, they use vaccinations to prevent disease. Law enforcement uses patrols to deter crime. And in software, the equivalent is having automated tests that are constantly patrolling the code. And you've got these strict coding standards that act just like sanitation rules, all to prevent bugs from ever taking root in the first place.
The bottom line is that being proactive is always better than being reactive. I mean, think about it. Fixing a bug after it's already messed things up for users, that's expensive. It's just like how treating a widespread disease is way harder than just preventing it. And solving a crime is so much more difficult than deterring it from ever happening.
But of course, let's be real. No system is perfect. Prevention can fail. A bug slips through the cracks. A crime is committed. An outbreak occurs. So, what happens next? Well, what happens next is a process of investigation that is, you guessed it, remarkably similar across all three of these fields.
Okay, so let's start with something we all know, probably from TV shows, right? A crime investigation. A crime gets reported. Detectives show up. They collect evidence. They interview witnesses. And they try to reconstruct exactly what happened. It's a methodical, evidence-based process. Now hold that thought, and let's see what happens when a software bug shows up.
See? It's almost a perfect mirror image of the last slide. It's incredible. When a bug gets reported, a QA tester basically becomes a digital detective. They don't interview witnesses, but they gather logs and data. They reproduce the issue to see it happen with their own eyes, and then they document every single step, so the developer can perfectly reconstruct the crime scene, right there in the code.
You see, it's all about diagnosis. The goal is always the same. Follow the evidence to find the root cause. A detective traces clues back to a suspect. A bug tester traces data back to one faulty line of code. And an epidemiologist? They do the exact same thing. They're tracing a disease outbreak back to its source, whether that's a single patient, a restaurant, or even a contaminated water supply.
This brings us to our final and maybe most important principle: enforcement. So once a problem is diagnosed, how does the system make sure the rules are followed and the standards are actually maintained?
Well, every system needs a court. In society, we have a whole formal legal system, right, to weigh evidence and deliver a verdict. And, as it turns out, the software world has its very own version of a courtroom.
And this is where the analogy gets really fun. Welcome to something called the bug triage meeting, which is, for all intents and purposes, a software courtroom. Check this out. The QA tester? They're the prosecutor, presenting the bug with all the evidence they've gathered. The developer, whose code is basically on trial, is the defendant. And the product manager, they're the judge, listening to the case, weighing the severity, and delivering the verdict, the sentence, if you will. Is this bug getting fixed now, later, or maybe not at all?
And we're not just talking about small bugs here. This is about enforcing big, important standards. Just like our society has laws, a lot of critical software has to comply with really strict regulations, things like HIPAA for protecting patient data, or PCI DSS for financial info. And whose job is it to be the enforcer? It's QA's. They make sure these digital laws are followed to the letter.
So when we put all of this together, You've got prevention, you've got investigation, and you've got enforcement. We finally get a complete picture of how all these different systems work together in harmony.
Yeah, it all boils down to this. All of these things are systems of proactive prevention and reactive intervention. Their one job is to maintain the well-being and integrity of a larger system. I mean, think about it. Whether you're managing software, public health, or a whole society, the playbook is basically the same. Build strong defenses, investigate every single breach, and enforce the rules to keep the whole thing running.
So here's the big takeaway, the thing I really want you to remember. Building resilient software, it uses the exact same rules as building a resilient society. The logic we use isn't just for code. It's the same logic we need to build a strong, healthy community. The principles are totally universal.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If the rules for healthy code and healthy society are the same, where else do these rules apply? I mean, think about managing a business or raising a family. What about our own personal health? It kind of seems like the rules for building a better system are hiding in plain sight all around us, if we just know how to look for them.